Your soulmate was caught last night. Who were they with? My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this story begins with a question that can shake any heart. What happens when you discover something you never expected to see? Listen carefully, because sometimes the most painful moments are not caused by what we know, they are caused by the stories we create before we understand the truth. Imagine waking up with a feeling that something has changed. A message left unanswered. A moment that feels different. A question that keeps repeating in your mind: what is really happening behind the scenes? The heart has a powerful imagination. When we care deeply about someone, uncertainty can create thousands of possibilities. We start searching for answers, looking for signs, and trying to understand things we cannot see. But sometimes the truth is not as painful as the fear we create around it. Sometimes there is a story we do not know yet. Sometimes there is a conversation that has not happened yet. And sometimes the only way to find clarity is through honesty. Don't skip, because this changes everything. Imagine someone seeing the person they care about in a situation that immediately creates questions. From a distance, it looks confusing. It looks like something is being hidden. It looks like there is a missing piece of the story. The emotions rise quickly: hurt, fear, disappointment, and uncertainty. But before making conclusions, they decide to look deeper. They decide that understanding is more powerful than assumptions. Listen carefully. The person they saw was not necessarily what their mind first imagined. The reality was more complicated than the appearance of the moment. There were conversations, circumstances, and emotions that had not been explained. This is the reminder that every person carries a world inside them that others cannot always see. A single moment does not always reveal the entire truth. Stay till the end, because the biggest revelation is not about who someone was with. It is about what happens when two people finally choose communication over fear. Instead of creating more distance, they decide to have an honest conversation. They ask questions. They listen. They share what they felt. And slowly, the confusion that created pain begins to disappear. Don't skip this part, because this is where the heart learns something important. Trust is not built by pretending problems never happen. Trust is built when people are willing to face uncomfortable moments with respect. A strong connection is not one where there are never misunderstandings. It is one where two people are willing to clear those misunderstandings instead of allowing them to destroy something meaningful. Imagine the conversation between them. At first, there is hesitation. There are emotions that have been waiting to come out. There are things that were never said because both people were afraid of making the situation worse. But then one person finally speaks from the heart: I don't want us to lose what matters because we were afraid to communicate. Listen carefully. Sometimes the hardest moments reveal the most important lessons. They show us where trust needs to grow. They show us where communication needs to become stronger. They show us that love is not only about beautiful memories and happy moments. Love is also about patience, understanding, and the willingness to choose honesty when things become difficult. Stay till the end, because the real answer to the question is deeper than anyone expected. The person was not the most important part of the story. The most important part was the choice that came afterward. Would they allow fear to control their connection, or would they choose maturity and understanding? My beloved child, remember this: never let one confusing moment convince you that the entire story is already written. Give truth a chance to appear. Give communication a chance to happen. And give yourself the respect of not losing your peace to assumptions that have not been proven. Because the strongest connections are not built by avoiding every storm. They are built by learning how to stand together when storms arrive. The greatest love stories are not perfect stories. They are stories of people who learn, grow, forgive, and choose better ways to understand each other. And perhaps the biggest revelation of all is this: sometimes what we think is the end of a story is actually the moment when a deeper understanding begins. The question was never only, who were they with? The real question was, are both hearts willing to choose honesty, respect, and growth from this moment forward? Because when truth finally meets an open heart, confusion can become clarity, fear can become wisdom, and a difficult chapter can become the beginning of something new. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this chapter goes deeper into the moment when confusion begins turning into understanding. After that unexpected situation, the emotions were intense. Questions filled the mind, and the heart searched for answers. It is human to feel uncertain when something does not make sense. But sometimes the moments that challenge us the most are the moments that reveal what we truly need to learn about trust, communication, and ourselves. Listen carefully, because the story is not about rushing to conclusions. Imagine the person standing with all these thoughts inside. Why did this happen? What does this mean? Was there something I didn't know? Every question feels heavy because emotions are involved. When we care about someone deeply, even a small misunderstanding can feel much bigger than it actually is. The heart wants clarity, but fear often creates stories before the truth has a chance to speak. Don't skip, because this changes everything. Instead of allowing assumptions to create a bigger distance, a decision is made to seek understanding. A conversation begins, not a conversation filled with accusations, but one filled with honesty. The first few moments are difficult because both people are carrying emotions they have not expressed. There is silence. There is hesitation. But there is also something important: the willingness to listen. Stay till the end, because this is where the hidden emotions begin to appear. The person explains that there were things happening behind the scenes that were never communicated clearly. They talk about their thoughts, their struggles, and the reasons certain moments look different from what they truly were. The other person listens, not because every answer is easy, but because understanding requires patience. Listen carefully. This is the lesson many hearts need to remember: a relationship cannot survive on guesses alone. It grows through conversations, respect, and the courage to ask instead of assuming. The strongest connections are not created when two people never experience confusion. They are created when two people choose to find clarity together. Don't skip this part, because the emotional turning point is here. The moment that once created fear becomes the moment that opens a deeper conversation. They begin talking about things they avoided before, their insecurities, their expectations, and the ways they both could communicate better. They realize that sometimes the biggest problems are not caused by a lack of love, but by a lack of understanding. Stay till the end, because something powerful happens next. The two hearts begin seeing each other differently. Not as someone who caused pain, but as someone who also has feelings, fears, and a story of their own. Compassion replaces suspicion. Patience replaces anger. And slowly, the connection begins finding a new balance. My beloved child, remember this. Every person has moments that can be misunderstood from the outside. Every person has a story that others may not fully know. The answer to uncertainty is not always fear, it is communication. The answer to confusion is not always distance, it is the courage to seek truth with kindness. Don't skip the next chapter, because the journey continues toward the biggest realization of all. Sometimes the moment that tests a connection is also the moment that reveals how strong it can become when two people choose honesty over fear. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this chapter takes us deeper into the emotions that were hidden beneath the surface. After the difficult moment, after the questions and uncertainty, both hearts began realizing that the real challenge was never only about what happened, it was about how they would respond to it. Listen carefully, because every relationship reaches moments where emotions are tested, and those moments reveal whether people choose fear or understanding. Imagine the two people sitting with everything that has happened, replaying the conversation in their minds. They remember the confusion, the hurt feelings, and the assumptions that almost created a bigger distance between them. But they also remember why the connection mattered in the first place. They remember the laughter, the support, and the moments when they felt truly appreciated. Those memories remind them that one difficult moment does not have to erase everything meaningful that came before. Don't skip, because this changes everything. The person who caused confusion begins to understand the importance of being open. They realize that even when their intentions were different, a lack of communication can still create pain. They recognize that trust is not something people should expect automatically, it is something they build through consistent honesty and thoughtful actions. This realization becomes a turning point because growth begins when people are willing to look at their own choices. Listen carefully. The other person also begins to reflect. They realize that fear had influenced their thoughts more than truth. They realize that the mind can create painful possibilities when answers are missing. Instead of allowing those fears to control the future, they choose a different path. They choose to ask questions. They choose to listen. They choose to understand before deciding what something means. Stay till the end, because the emotional shift happens when both people finally see each other's humanity. They are no longer just two people trying to defend themselves. They are two people trying to protect something meaningful. The conversation becomes less about proving a point and more about finding peace. They begin sharing feelings they had kept hidden for too long, and those honest moments create a new level of understanding. Don't skip this part, because this is where the heart learns something powerful. A strong connection is not measured by how many perfect days two people have. It is measured by how they handle the difficult days. Anyone can celebrate during easy times, but true maturity appears when people face uncertainty with patience and respect. The willingness to communicate becomes the foundation for rebuilding trust. Listen carefully. Sometimes the hardest moments become the moments that teach the greatest lessons. The confusion showed them the importance of transparency. The distance showed them the importance of appreciation. The fear showed them the importance of choosing courage. And through all of it, they discovered that a meaningful connection requires two people who are willing to grow. Stay till the end, because the next realization changes the entire story. They understand that the goal was never to create a perfect relationship where nothing goes wrong. The goal was to create a relationship where problems can be faced together. A place where questions can be answered. A place where feelings can be expressed without fear. A place where both people feel respected and valued. My beloved child, remember this message: never let one uncertain moment define an entire story. Give truth the opportunity to appear. Give conversations the opportunity to heal. And give yourself the wisdom to recognize that love is not only found in emotions, it is found in the choices people make every day. The journey is not over yet. The next chapter brings the moment where everything becomes clearer, where hidden intentions are understood, and where both hearts discover what they truly want moving forward. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this chapter reaches the moment where the confusion that once felt overwhelming begins revealing a deeper lesson. After the questions, the emotions, and the difficult conversations, both hearts started seeing the situation from a different perspective. What once felt like a threat became an opportunity to understand each other more deeply. Listen carefully, because sometimes the moments that shake us are the same moments that show us what truly matters. Imagine the days after that conversation. The silence feels different now. It is no longer filled with fear and endless questions. Instead, it becomes a space for reflection. Both people begin thinking about what they learned, what they could have done differently, and how they can create a stronger connection moving forward. They realize that trust is not rebuilt through one conversation alone, it is rebuilt through many small moments of honesty and care. Don't skip, because this changes everything. The person you care about begins understanding that feelings alone are not enough. A meaningful connection requires effort. It requires showing up, communicating clearly, and making choices that help the other person feel respected. They begin looking at their own actions and asking a deeper question: am I creating the kind of relationship I truly want? That question becomes the beginning of real growth. Listen carefully. The other person also discovers something important. They realize that protecting their heart does not mean building walls around it. It means learning when to open up, when to communicate, and when to trust their own wisdom. They understand that love should not be based on fear of losing someone. It should be based on the freedom to choose each other with honesty and respect. Stay till the end, because the most emotional moment arrives when both people begin letting go of old assumptions. They stop looking only at what went wrong and start recognizing what they can create from this point forward. They talk about their hopes, their concerns, and the things they never had the courage to say before. The conversation becomes a bridge between two hearts that were once separated by uncertainty. Don't skip this part, because this is where the true transformation happens. They realize that every connection has seasons. There are moments of happiness, moments of challenge, and moments where people need to learn how to understand each other better. A difficult chapter does not automatically mean the story is over. Sometimes it simply means the story needs a new approach, a new level of honesty, and a stronger foundation. Listen carefully. The biggest revelation is not about who was right or who was wrong. It is about what both people choose after the truth is understood. They can choose to hold on to pain, or they can choose healing. They can choose to replay the past, or they can choose to create a better future. The power of the next chapter comes from the decisions they make now. Stay till the end, because something beautiful begins to unfold. The connection becomes less about fear and more about appreciation. They begin noticing the small things again. The kindness, the effort, the moments of support that were always there. They remember why this connection mattered and why it was worth having an honest conversation in the first place. My beloved child, remember this: every relationship has moments that test patience and understanding. The strongest bonds are not created because people never face difficulties. They are created because people learn how to face difficulties with maturity and compassion. A heart that chooses communication over assumptions creates space for healing. And now the story moves toward its final chapter, the moment where the biggest lesson becomes clear. Sometimes the situation that creates the most questions is also the situation that reveals the importance of trust, honesty, and choosing what truly brings peace. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this chapter brings us closer to the moment where everything that felt uncertain begins finding its place. After all the emotions, the questions, and the difficult reflections, both hearts started realizing that the true test was never about one single moment. The true test was whether they could choose understanding when confusion appeared. Listen carefully, because the strongest connections are not created when everything is easy. They are created when people learn how to handle the moments that challenge them. Imagine the person you care about thinking back on everything that happened. They realize that every choice, every silence, and every conversation played a role in shaping where they are now. They begin to understand that avoiding difficult topics only allows confusion to grow. Honest communication may feel uncomfortable at first, but it creates something more valuable than temporary comfort: it creates trust. Don't skip, because this changes everything. The person begins to see that what matters most is not defending themselves or proving their side of the story. What matters is showing through their actions that they care. They understand that words have meaning, but actions give those words strength. A simple promise means little without effort behind it. A sincere feeling becomes powerful when it is supported by consistency and respect. Listen carefully. The other person also begins a journey of understanding. They realize that their heart was searching for answers because the connection mattered. The questions came from caring, not weakness. They learn that it is okay to ask for clarity. It is okay to express emotions. It is okay to want honesty. A healthy connection allows both people to speak their truth without fear of being judged. Stay till the end, because the emotional turning point arrives when both hearts stop fighting against the situation and start learning from it. They begin talking about the future instead of only focusing on the past. They discuss what they need from each other, what they hope to build, and how they can prevent old misunderstandings from returning. The conversation becomes a new foundation instead of a reminder of old pain. Don't skip this moment, because something important is revealed. The connection was never strengthened by pretending challenges did not exist. It became stronger because those challenges forced both people to grow. They learned patience when they wanted immediate answers. They learned compassion when they wanted to react. They learned that understanding another person's heart requires more than assumptions, it requires a willingness to listen. Listen carefully. Sometimes life brings situations that reveal what people truly value. Difficult moments can show who is willing to communicate, who is willing to grow, and who is willing to protect something meaningful. A connection built on respect does not disappear because of one confusing chapter. Instead, it has the chance to become wiser and more mature. Stay till the end, because the final lesson is becoming clear. The question was never only about what happened that night. The deeper question was what both people would choose afterward. Would they allow uncertainty to create distance, or would they use honesty to create understanding? The answer would shape everything that came next. My beloved child, remember this: never let fear write the ending of a story before the truth has been given a chance to speak. Choose wisdom over assumptions. Choose communication over silence. Choose peace over endless worry. Because every meaningful connection deserves the opportunity to be understood. And now, the journey moves toward the final chapter, the moment where the lessons, the emotions, and the truth finally come together, revealing what this experience was truly meant to teach. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this chapter reveals the moment when the weight of uncertainty finally begins to lift. After everything they experienced, after the questions and the emotions that once felt impossible to understand, both hearts reached a place of reflection. They realized that the most important part of any connection is not avoiding difficult moments, it is learning how to move through them with honesty and care. Listen carefully, because sometimes the hardest chapters are the ones that teach us the most about love, trust, and ourselves. Imagine the two people looking back at the journey they shared. They remember the moments that brought them closer, the conversations that made them smile, and the challenges that tested their patience. They realized that every experience had a purpose. The joyful moments showed them what they valued, and the difficult moments showed them what needed more attention. Slowly, they begin seeing the situation not as something that broke them apart, but as something that gave them an opportunity to grow. Don't skip, because this changes everything. The person who once struggled to express themselves begins understanding the importance of openness. They realize that keeping feelings hidden can create more distance than any problem itself. They learn that the people we care about cannot always understand what we never communicate. A heart can feel deeply, but connection becomes stronger when those feelings are expressed through kindness, respect, and genuine effort. Listen carefully. The other person also discovers a powerful truth. They realize that their peace cannot depend only on receiving answers from someone else. They learn that their own strength, confidence, and happiness must always remain a part of their journey. Love is beautiful when it adds to your life, but your value exists before anyone chooses to stay or leave. Stay till the end, because the most emotional moment arrives when both people begin to release the fear that controlled them. They stop replaying every painful detail and start focusing on what they can create moving forward. Instead of asking who caused the problem, they begin asking how they can build better understanding. Instead of searching for someone to blame, they begin searching for a way to heal. Don't skip this part, because this is where the connection begins to transform. The conversations become more honest. The words become more thoughtful. The silence that once created confusion becomes a reminder of why communication matters. They understand that trust is not rebuilt through promises alone. It is rebuilt through patience, consistency, and actions that show genuine care. Listen carefully. Every relationship has moments when people must decide what matters more: pride or peace, assumptions or understanding, fear or courage. The strongest bonds are not created by people who never make mistakes. They are created by people who are willing to learn, apologize, listen, and become better because of those mistakes. Stay till the end, because the final realization is closer than ever. What seemed like a painful discovery became a lesson about the importance of clarity. What seemed like a moment of separation became a reminder that meaningful connections require attention and effort. The experience changed the way they looked at each other, but it also changed the way they looked at themselves. My beloved child, remember this message: never allow one confusing moment to define your entire story. Give truth a chance. Give conversations a chance. Give growth a chance. The heart becomes stronger when it learns to love with wisdom, not just emotion. And as this chapter comes to a close, one final lesson remains: the most valuable connections are not the ones without challenges. They are the ones where people choose understanding after the challenges appear. Because when honesty meets compassion, even a difficult chapter can become the beginning of a deeper, wiser, and more meaningful story. My beloved child, don't skip. Stay till the end, because this is the final chapter, the moment when every question, every emotion, and every lesson finally comes together. What started as a moment of uncertainty became a journey of understanding. The fear, the confusion, and the unanswered questions slowly transformed into something more powerful: clarity. Listen carefully, because sometimes life brings difficult moments not to destroy a connection, but to reveal what truly needs attention, healing, and growth. The biggest realization came when both hearts understood that the strength of a connection is not measured by how perfect everything looks from the outside. It is measured by how people treat each other when things become complicated. They discovered that honesty creates stronger foundations than assumptions. They discovered that a conversation filled with respect can heal wounds that silence only makes deeper. And they discovered that true care is shown through actions, not only through emotions. Don't skip this final message, because this changes everything. The moment that created fear became the moment that taught them the value of trust. They learned that every person has a story, every situation has a deeper side, and every heart carries feelings that may not always be visible. Instead of allowing doubt to control their future, they chose patience, understanding, and compassion. Stay till the end, because the most beautiful part of this journey is what happened inside their hearts. They became stronger. They became wiser. They learned that love should not feel like constant worry or endless guessing. A meaningful connection should create a place where two people can be honest, respected, and accepted for who they truly are. Listen carefully, my beloved child. The greatest lesson from this story is not about who someone was with or what happened in one moment. The greatest lesson is about the power of choosing truth over fear. It is about having the courage to communicate, the wisdom to listen, and the strength to protect your own peace while still keeping your heart open. Imagine the two people moving forward with a new understanding. The past is not erased, but it is no longer controlling them. The difficult moments became lessons. The confusion became clarity. The distance became a reminder of how important connection really is. They no longer looked at each other through the eyes of fear, they looked at each other through the eyes of growth. My beloved child, remember this: every chapter of your life has a purpose. Some chapters bring happiness. Some bring lessons. Some bring challenges that reveal your strength. But none of them are wasted. Every experience shapes your heart and prepares you for the person you are becoming. So walk forward with peace. Do not let fear steal your happiness. Do not let uncertainty make you forget your value. The right people will meet you with honesty, respect, and genuine effort. The connections meant to bring growth into your life will not require you to lose yourself. And now the story reaches its beautiful ending. The mystery that once created questions becomes a lesson that created wisdom. The moment that once felt painful becomes a memory of growth. The hearts that once felt uncertain learn that understanding is stronger than fear. Because in the end, the greatest love stories are not the ones where nothing ever goes wrong. They are the ones where people choose kindness after the storm, honesty after the confusion, and hope after the uncertainty. My beloved child, your story continues. Keep your heart full of love, keep your mind full of wisdom, and keep walking toward the peace and happiness you deserve. Sometimes the biggest answers do not come from discovering someone else's secrets. They come from discovering the strength, value, and beauty that has always existed within you.